What is up, folks, and welcome to another episode of Tank Academy. In this episode we'll be talking about hitbox positioning as a tank and the benefits of it. It's not something I've seen talked about a whole lot, but having it in your tool set will give you another sturdy string to add to that tank skill set bow, figuratively. It's nothing too complex, but when I say hitbox positioning, I am basically referring to how far or how close you can get to a boss while still being able to hit it and not turning the boss around. So for example, here I am at max melee distance, just doing my usual rotation. Now let's flip it. So now I am as close to the boss as possible before it will flip around and face the other way. If I go any further, the boss will turn around. So why is this important to know about and utilize? Well, there's many reasons as to why, but let me give a few examples and scenarios. So first one, it's not uncommon to miss your healer's AoE support by being too far back from the boss, aka max melee distance. It's more common than you may think. This counts for like Shake It Off and other AoE effects as well. The range is quite forgiving, so not always an issue, but there are times I've seen people miss a bit of an AoE because they're too far out. There is kind of an art to not being too far away from the boss even as a ranged, so you can hit those AoEs, so it's also important in that aspect. This also includes protection bubbles, which are cast at the back of the boss, which you can make use of by going closer into the hitbox as much as you can, as opposed to just sitting on the outside of it. It is extra mitigation for you as well. Another one would be stack markers. It's entirely possible to take a stack marker whilst remaining in front of the boss and close to its hitbox. However, this one is uncommon as the boss will usually turn around anyway to deliver the stack damage to the party. It's also quite risky if your party is not on board with the positioning previous discussions. The main one, I guess, is mechanical dodging. So by staying close at max close distance at the hitbox, you can easily transition behind the boss for cleave attacks and anything that is frontal cone that is not going to track you. By staying on the edge of the boss, aka max melee distance, you make it a lot easier to do any type of mechanic that requires you to run out or requires you to spread from the party, therefore giving more room for somebody in the melee kind of team or allocation to hit the boss. This is also another mechanic that is quite common. So basically, just by manipulating where you stand when you tank the boss, whilst keeping it faced forward and in attack range, will give you different benefits and advantages based on how you use it. The way I like to classify it is with three positions, okay? Max melee, closest distance, and standard distance. I class standard distance, and this will be different for every tank, but I class standard distance as standing just on the tip of the boss's arrow. So you see how the boss has like a round AoE marker that defines flanks and vice versa? I will have my standard tank position be on the edge of the arrow, and then I will either go max or max close when a certain mechanic is going to happen, a certain amount of healing needs to happen, and vice versa. So I classify it as three positions on the hitbox that you can manipulate. Learn them, learn when to utilize them. Don't try and over abuse them. You're not suddenly going to get some crazy successful results by constantly closing in on the boss. Know when to use them, when is appropriate, when you need to communicate when a heal is coming in, when an AoE heal is coming in, when you're going to do a Shake It Off or a Divine Veil and you want to catch people. Are you going to stack? Are you going to go behind the boss? Do you want to keep the boss back turned so you can still get positionals? There's lots of situations for it, but knowing those three positions, you will be good to go. So hopefully this helps you out. Have a practice of it, going max melee and vice versa, and you'll be good to go. So that's all I got for today's episode. So I'll see you in the next one. Probably going to do a video on Shadowbringer tanking and thoughts and whatnot. But other than that, have a good one, folks. Test it out, and I'll see you in the next one.